What's going on? It's Darryl Syms, and today we're going to learn how to play harmonies on the guitar. Harmonies have such a cool sound, and when you hear them, it just sounds so cool and so powerful. So we're going to learn how to do that today, and I'm going to teach you how to create your own harmonies. You can use this idea with any scale, pattern, or melody that you create. Just take the basic principle from this lesson and adapt it into your own context. So let me real quickly explain to you what a harmony is. It's two sets of notes played at the same time, and they are an exact distance apart within the same scale or key that you're in. So for example, a very pleasurable harmony for the human ear is thirds. So if I were to play the first two notes of the major scale and I want to harmonize that in thirds, I would play a third up from each of those notes. Let's change the camera angle so I can show you in greater detail. So let's begin by choosing a scale. I'm going to choose the most common, the major scale, in the key of A. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, you must be very familiar with those intervals. You should be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least just acknowledge which interval belongs to which finger. Now we're going to start by harmonizing that entire scale in thirds. So what I mean by that is we're going to play the same scale, but a third up from the original notes. So we're going to start on the 1, 2, 3, the third interval. So I'm just going to go, and if we play that at the same time, it will sound like this. There we go, pretty simple. So I chose thirds as the harmonies here, but what if we try a different interval? Let's try fourths. So we're going to do the same thing, but on the fourth interval onwards now. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to go. Let's see what that sounds like. Still sounds relatively cool, but let's try and find one that maybe doesn't sound as cool. So let's try starting on the second interval. So that one sounds a little bit dodgy. So as you can imagine, there are some harmonies that sound good and some that maybe don't sound so good. Now that was just playing around with the major scale, but let's try something a little bit cooler and try and make a melody from that. So let's try and create a little melody here, still sticking in the key of A major. Let's see what we can come up with. I like that, sounds cool. Now let's try and harmonize that with thirds, because thirds is generally the most pleasant for the human ear. So let's try and work this out. So the first note of our harmony is obviously a third up from the very first note of our original melody, which was this one here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then the second note was this one. So we're going to work out a third from there. 1, 2, 3. So those are our first two notes of the harmony. And then our third note was this one here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So we got, and then if we continue that on, so the next melody is, so we're going to try and copy that now by going. Now because I've done this enough times, I can find those intervals relatively quickly, and generally the more familiar you are with your major scale or whichever scale you're trying to harmonize, the quicker you'll be able to find those harmonies. So just as a reminder, so far we have, and then to finish off, we went in the original. So we need to copy that a third up. So that would be, so all together. So let's now play that along with the original lick. I like that, that sounds pretty cool. And like I said, the more you do this, the more familiar you are with the scale or the lick that you're in the key that you're in, the easier this is going to be for you. But just remember, thirds is the coolest interval, but experiment with fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths, whatever interval you want to choose, because they all obviously have a different flavor. Whether that's a good flavor or not, that's questionable, but have fun with it and experiment, and this is for you to discover and find out. Let me show you another example. I'm going to show you one of my favorite harmonies from a song called Black Star by Yngwie Malmsteen. So there we go, that's the end of the lesson. I hope you took something away from this. If you're new to this channel, then make sure you subscribe because I do stuff like this all the time. Make sure you like the video if you took something away from it, and I'll see you in the next video.